Hello and welcome to this tutorial on the Moore Industries USB communication cable utility. But before we get started showing you the USB cable utility, let me paint a scenario for you. You just received your new Moore Industries configurable instrument, and for my demonstration we'll talk about the SPA2, and you want to configure it. You also have our USB cable. It's plugged into your PC on one end, and the other end is plugged into the SPA2, and they won't communicate with one another. Let's show an example here. We'll start the SPA2 configuration software, and the first thing I get is an error message saying the MISP COM call failed because the selected serial port does not exist. And oh, by the way, MISP, that just stands for Moore Industries Serial Protocol. That's the little port on the front of the SPA2. That's the protocol we use to communicate with it. Anyhow, so it's saying the selected serial port does not exist. So let's just say OK to that. Say OK to this splash screen, and we'll look up to see what COM port it's talking about. And you notice it says COM1. Well, we know COM1 exists, but the USB cable, once it gets plugged into your PC, Microsoft arbitrarily assigns a COM port to it. And it could be any COM port between COM1 and COM256. So how do we find out which COM port we are really using? Well, let's close this down here, and we'll go to our USB cable utility. And that's the reason that it exists, to assist you in discovering what COM port you're on and also changing it if need be. So we'll double click on it, and there's the COM port utility, and we look down here and it says COM port 3 is ready, and that's the COM port that our cable is connected to. So we can either go back to the SPA2 software and change that from COM1 to COM3 so they match, or we can go here, we can configure settings, and you see the current port is COM3. We can change it. I'll scroll up here. We can change it to COM1. We'll say OK. Yes, I do want to change it. And now we'll try the SPA2 software and see what happens now. Okay, no error message. You notice we get communication is OK down here with the green flashing light, and we get a progress bar, and there it is, works fine. And of course it's still at COM1. Now also you could have changed this one to COM3, which I'll do right now. Change that to COM3. We'll go back to our settings here. It originally was on COM3. We'll say OK to it, and then come up, and of course it works on COM3 as well. So there you have it in a nutshell. The reason for the USB cable utility. It helps you to find out what COM port is assigned to the cable, and also so it allows you to change it to match your software. Okay, now let's talk about a few other issues with the USB communication cable utility that you might run into. First, let me close down the SPA2, and for right now we'll close down the COM cable utility as well. Before going on about the USB cable utility, I'd like to first make mention of the USB cable itself. Over time, we've had two versions of the USB cable. The earlier version is readily identifiable by a yellow label along the length of the cord, and that yellow label has the part number of the USB cable on it, and you can see the part number here. The current version that we are distributing is called the fused USB cable, so called because there is a fuse in the small USB shell for intrinsically safe applications, and that is the one we are currently distributing. If you have problems with the earlier yellow labeled USB cable, give us a call or an email, and we'll be glad to support you with that cable. There'll be information at the end of the slide with our phone number and our email address as well. So now let's take a look at the USB cable utility once more. We'll start it up here. And here it looks just like it did a moment ago. However, some people will run into a situation when they try to configure the settings the current port is COM3, and if they can't use that and they want to change it, they come over here and you click on this, there's no pull down. And the reason is explained right here below. It says the port reassignment requires running utility as an administrator. Now this is not a problem with the USB cable utility, it is an issue with Windows security. So depending on how your PC was set up and your login, you might run into this. There is a way around it. We'll close this down and we'll exit that. And what you want to do is you want to hover over the USB cable utility icon here and right click it, and then come down here and say run as administrator. Okay, fire that up. Still looks the same. Now I can go here, configure settings. I no longer get the error message, and I can pull down and get all my COM ports that I might need to use for my setup. Also, on that error message, it allowed me to run as administrator because I have the rights as a user. If, however, your IT department set it up so you absolutely cannot get in there, it'll pop up and say it wants the administrator's login and password. And at that point, you're going to have to go talk to your IT department. Nothing we can do. All right, and as long as we're talking about these ports and the pull down, if you should open this and you see most of these COM ports are being used and you don't know why, there's probably some software or some other utility in your PC that is running that is monopolizing these resources. Give us a call or send us an email and we'll be glad to discuss what the possibilities might be there. We have run into other software programs, not ours, from other vendors that monopolize all these resources, and we'll tell you how to work around it. Okay. Also, as long as we're talking about the selection of COM ports, some of our legacy instruments, and I'll pop a slide up here, specifically these 5 right here, TRX, the TRY, or TDY, SIY, and SDY, you can only use ports COM1 through COM4. So when you're selecting, you have to stay at the top here, COM1 through COM4. That's because of the legacy software that was used at the time. When we designed that software, those were the only COM ports generally available. So those will all be upgraded in the near future, but right now you'll have to stick to COM1 through COM4 for those devices. Also, take a look down here. We got a little block called Odd Parity Quick Set, and it lists these instruments right here that may need odd parity setting. So you're actually setting up your serial port in your PC for odd parity. You just click that right there and it will then go into odd parity and you'll be able to successfully communicate with these instruments right here. Okay, well, I'll click it back to auto because that's where I want it. All right, and any setup you have, if you have a lot of instruments that you want to configure, you can make this, however you have it, you can make it your default by clicking on that box there. And of course, any changes you make, once you say OK here, and those changes are made, you can leave this running, and I suggest you do that. Just minimize it. It'll go down to your tool tray, and it'll be fine down there. Anytime you need to refer to which COM port you're on or anything like that, you can pull it up and see what's going on. And here at the end of the slide, or at the end of the video, here are the slides that show our phone number. So if you'd like to contact us, give us a call at that number and just ask for technical support. We'll be glad to talk to you. Or you can send us an email directly at support@miinet.com, or you can go to our website and go over to the support area and just hit the eHelp icon, and that'll allow you to send your information over to us that way, and we'll get back to you generally the same business day. Well, thank you for listening. Hope to see you again.